Hey guys, it's Barbie with Two Friends and a Bible, just doing our Thursday second update for the week. Last update was on Monday, so I have several things that I write down as I see it come up. So you might see me talk about China, and then I might go to Iran, then Venezuela, US, and then back and forth. And it's because I'm seeing things over the course of days. Um, so just, bear with me on that. It's a lot today. It's like 5 pages, but I'm not going to be doing any scripture references today. So it won't take too long. So I hope I give you some information and help you out. So we will get started. Okay. So I don't know if you guys have heard of CERN, CERN in Switzerland. It's like it's this place in Switzerland where they've got this big machine and basically they're trying to recreate something what they think is called like the Big Bang Theory, which of course we know God created the heavens and the earth. And but that's what they're basically trying to do is trying to recreate that. And it's very demonic. And I know back in years, a few years back when they opened it, there was some demonic activity that, from what I've been told, that came through. Sorry, I wasn't there and I didn't see it, so I can't say for sure that that's what happened, but that is what people are saying. And they opened it up again. I think it was July 5th, and so Elon Musk actually tweeted 6 weeks, 6 hours, and 6 seconds after that reboot was done, July 5th. CERN came in. That's the first time they've turned it on in a couple of years. And it's interesting, and he tweeted what I'm fixing to tell you 6 weeks, 6 hours, and 6 seconds after this happened. He says, please let me use the CERN Large Hadron Collider. I'm sorry, Large Hadron Collider. I am normal and can be trusted with the demonic technology unlike anything the world has ever seen. That's kind of weird, huh? Anyway, this coming from a man who wants to put microchips and type inside of humans. And I did hear the other day that there's a guy that has a Telsa, and he actually inserted somehow his key to his vehicle. So all he has to do is just, put his hand in front of the door and it opens his car. So interesting. Got some news headlines, just some different things that people have said, like on different, like New York Post, things like that, which I don't really watch all that. I do get it from one of my subscribers and one of the people I subscribe to. So I figure I'll just share it with you. But, at the end of the day, if you don't see this, you have to realize it's happening. But there is just a big spiritual war going on earth in this whole world. And yes, we have had spiritual battles going on since the beginning of time, good versus evil. Satan has his demons and God has the angels, and they're always up there, battling. Book of Revelation, it talks about, there's four angels on the corners of the earth that are holding back additional evil that's going to come on the earth during the end times. And so they are holding back a lot. And then you've got the angels, I guess, like the army host, that fight all the time. And, if it wasn't for that, we can't even imagine how things would be. And so we know that that's going on. So when I read all this and tell you these things that's going on, try not to be discouraged. These things must happen, just like Jesus says in Matthew 24, these things must happen. So try not to be discouraged. And if it is indeed the end times, this is an amazing time to be privileged to live in. as a Christian, because we're going to get to see all these things unfold that are prophecy in the Bible. So it's actually a privileged time. Okay. And and obviously I don't know for sure if it is, and I can't say for sure that this is the end times, but we are definitely setting up for it, aren't we? What do y'all think? Leave me a comment or send me an email. Tell me what your thought is. I've always gone through my life and said, oh, that's that sounds like something for the end times or whatever, but not like now. Now it is just every day there's something. So y'all tell me what you think. So here's the news headlines. The world is preparing for the worst, a nuclear disaster. U.S. to send Ukraine GPS guided missiles. And I saw yesterday where number 46 has sent another, I think it's like 2.9 or 2.8 billion more dollars in arsenal and missiles and things like that to Ukraine. And it was without even a approval of Congress or anything. He just did it. So, all right. And then but in it, while he's doing that, another one of the headlines, which we've talked about this before, but it says Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea is threatening to nuke the U.S. All of this while we continue to send money and supplies and military equipment over to the Ukraine. And that, of course, does not include the 80 million we left in Afghanistan. There is an undeclared U.S. war on Russia that is being talked about with the guys, that do it. The government hasn't come out yet that it's happening, but there is definite talk. Okay, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And animals are still acting crazy. I saw, might have been Cuba, where a guy was attacked by an or maybe it was crocodile, and you can see in the video where he's just carrying the man around in the water with him. I mean, it was just horrible. And you hear about crocodile and alligator attacks, a couple times a year, but not like right now. And there was another lady in Florida just killed last week. I think she was working in a garden and alligators come up and got her. It's just weird. And we talked about the snow monkeys. If you don't remember that, a couple of weeks ago, I don't know, I haven't seen an update, but there was 45 different attacks in India from snow monkeys, and they're usually very dormant, very chilled monkeys. And not only are they attacking the people, they're actually busting the windows down and going in. And they're not going after food, they're going after the people, but they're going after toddlers and elderly people. They've like chosen who they're going to go after. I guess weak and vulnerable, but I don't think that includes babies. It's toddlers and elderly people. So it's kind of interesting. So Washington, the state of Washington, are reporting giant moths, MOTHS, with 10-inch wingspans. That's kind of interesting, huh? Some big wingspans for a moth. And that's probably going to contribute to more famine because they're going to eat greenery. They're going to eat our greenery. And apparently there's quite a good bit of them there. Okay, so, we never heard of UFO sightings. Well, let me rephrase that. Yes, we did not hear about UFO sightings until like 1947, about the time that Israel became a nation and we entered into our last generation, what we believe is the last generation that Jesus talks about. And, all the years, oh no, there's none. There's no Area 51. There's none of this. There's none of that. They denied it. And now in the last 2 years, maybe 3, all of a sudden, boom, we're seeing UFOs everywhere all of a sudden. And so now NASA is launching a huge investigation into thousands of UFO sightings that we just started hearing about, and this is thousands that's happened in the last year or two, so it's interesting. Their goal is to be done with investigation by October 22. So that's only, 6, 8 weeks from now. So that's what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to be done by then. And I'm curious to see what they come out because, as I've told you guys on multiple times, if you've listened to any of my videos, don't believe there's aliens. No, I do not believe it. You can't make me believe there's aliens. There was a time that I did, and that was before I really got in the word. No, I believe those are that, in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, I think it's around verse 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. It talks about where Michael and Satan, the dragon, get into this big fight up in heaven, and Michael wins and he kicks Satan to the earth with his demons. We talked about that in one of our last videos on Revelation 101. Well, he knocks them to the earth. Well, if we're in the end times, then clearly that would be happening, right? That part of Revelation would be happening. And so now all of a sudden you got all these alien sightings, and I believe that aliens are the demons. Like I said, at one point in time, I did believe in it. I was like, oh, if God can make the earth and he can make us, he can make other people. But it doesn't say it in the word. And if it doesn't say it in the word that there is other people on other planets, then I can't believe it because, he's got everything else in that word, and it's been pretty doggone accurate for thousands of years. So I just have a hard time believing it. And so, no, I don't believe it. I believe it is the demons, and I believe it is going to be the demons. And from Revelation 12, that Michael has kicked Satan to the earth with his demons. Now, maybe the war is still going on because, obviously I can't look up there and see. I don't have that ability. So I don't have a big enough telescope, I guess, to see. But that's just my thought process is if we are indeed in the end times, and I believe that we are definitely in them, and definitely in the birthing pains, then yeah, it's very possible. So just think about it, and if you know something or have an idea or a comment you can make about that, y'all let me know. It just came to me recently about that too. Okay, so the United States and South Korea actually opened up the largest drill practice amidst North Korea's threats. Interesting, and it's because North Korea, along with China and Iran and Russia, is threatening to nuke us. And so if North Korea is going to put, if Rocket Man's going to put his 2 cents in the middle of it, he's going to go after South Korea too, right? It would make sense to me. So yeah, so they're doing drill testing, I guess, to make sure they're ready to fight off any attacks from them. So, it's just, I don't know. So you got China that's messing with Taiwan, and yeah, that they're still going in and out of their airspace, and I think they're supposed to be doing some military drills, not just practices, but drills right inside of the Taiwan area. I saw that earlier today. I don't have a lot of info on it, but I saw where they're getting ready to do that. So you got China, messing with Taiwan, but you also got China teaming up with Iran and Russia and threatening us. And then you got China teaming up with North Korea and Russia and Iran threatening us. They're all doing it. But you also got North Korea threatening South Korea, and you also got Russia in Ukraine. So, everybody needs to be sent to timeout. I mean, they really do, because nobody's getting along. And I know there's people probably on here who do not like number 45. And I understand that number 45 tweeted some things he probably shouldn't have tweeted, but you know what? It's his page, not mine. So it's not, you know, I'm not going to dictate how someone should run their channel or their page. That's theirs. If we don't want to read it or hear it, we don't, right? If I don't want to hear or read something, I don't. So, but you know, technically, yeah, he probably should have not done a few of the tweets, you know, but it is what it is. And but I'm gonna tell you what though, we had 4 years of peace in the world, excluding, of course, when all those stupid riots started. And that was our own people. But nobody was, you know, I mean, there was little conflicts here and there, but not now. I mean, and I have never seen people threaten to nuke other countries like it's going on now. You just didn't do that. You know, you didn't threaten nukes. That was, you know, if you threaten nukes, that was a big deal. And now it's just everyone's throwing the word out, nukes, nukes, nukes. And it's just insane. But, and you know, the other thing is you got the US in the Taiwan situation. You've got them sending stuff to Ukraine. Now we're with South Korea. And it's like, to me, almost like the United States is poking, you know, just poking, poking. You know how when we used to get in the back seat with our sister or brother, you know, poking, poking. Mama, she's poking me. She's poking me. Well, that's what they're doing. It's like they're poking them. I don't know. I don't understand any of this. But I'll tell you what, don't try to understand it. Don't try to understand all this because you're never going to. You're never going to understand it, and neither am I. And, you know, Jesus said everything would be basically insane during these times, and you're not going to understand. Yeah, so, all right, so going to move on. There's a former Russian official has stated that Ukraine might just disappear off of the map at Judgment Day. Not sure what Judgment Day is for that. So, but that's, you know, honestly, it's the same thing Iran is saying about Israel. They're planning on, they want them off the map, you know. So now that Russia and Iran's BFFs, I guess that, you know, they're going to start thinking and saying the same way, but that's what they want. They want Ukraine off the map. And now they, you know, of course, they want Israel off the map. And of course, they love US, you know, America to be off the map. Okay, so here's the Great Depression is coming. I know they've said we are, well, the title was The Great Depression is coming. Inflation is hitting an average Joe person like me and you very badly. People's savings are dwindling, are gone. One half of US companies are planning job cuts. And, you know, we talked about a couple of weeks ago that Amazon was laying off 100,000. And I'm seeing where Target apparently has some overstock or something, and they're putting stuff on sale for like 90% off. And so there's rumor that they might be having some problems as well. So we'll see. And there's actually some mortgage lenders out there now that are starting to go broke. And I saw that the housing market is definitely not what it was 6 months, a year ago. It's definitely dwindling down. So we'll keep an eye on that and see. But yeah, that's what they're predicting, that a Great Depression is coming. So let's go on. There, a lot of governmental authorities are coming out and saying they don't understand why there's so many different diseases that are coming up around the world. Obviously, first we had the virus, and then of course it mutates and gets, you know, becomes a different strand of it. And then you got the monkeypox. And now we've got something called, oh, what did I see that? Tomato virus. Apparently you get big whelps on you the size of a tomato. I don't know. I will say, you know, I believe that it's the seals that talk about having pestilence and things like that during when the seals are opening. So that's very possible, while we're having all that, because I personally hadn't heard of it. I hadn't heard of monkeypox either. Oh, I'm sorry. It's called the tomato flu. And it is in India right now. And yes, the sores that you get are the size of tomatoes. Keep an eye on that. So the World Economic Forum is now putting tracking devices on people. And they have actually had 500 people sign up already to get these tracking devices. What does that sound like? Yeah. Right. We did a study on that, put a study out on that Wednesday, Mark of the Beast and Gematria. So if you haven't listened to it, you might want to. That 70% of Americans, whether Republican or Democrat or independent, whatever, 75% of Americans believe that with this administration that's going right now, number 46, that we are completely going in the wrong direction. And obviously, we can see that. Okay, we have an election come up in 2022. After that election, they are predicting no later than January that our food prices are going to double, if not triple. Now, we talked about that in one of my last videos, but that was just a little new updated information that they're talking. It's probably going to be around January that it doubles or triples. And we also knew that China was having in North China lots of a big drought, but in South China, they're having massive rains. So it's destroying all the crops. So they're having a lot of problems with crops right now, right this minute. Okay, so a lot of people ask us on this channel, will we really know when it's getting close to the rapture? Well, we've done a video on what the 7 seals, 7 trumpets, all that is. But we also did a video on the Gog and Magog war. And I highly recommend watching these videos because it really will explain, in addition to us giving these news updates, it really will explain a lot. But if you're asking that question, just open your eyes and see, because there's your answer. Yes, we will know when the rapture is getting close. And we know it by the things going on. Okay, so when I did my update on Monday, I said that we had talked about in the past that China and Iran were going to be, China, Iran, and Russia were going to be going to Venezuela to do joint war games. And that was basically teaching them and learning and practicing how to take the US out. Okay. And when I did the video on Monday, I said I had not heard any updates. Well, I did go in and do some research, and it did actually start those war games August 13th. And it's going to go through the 27th, and today's the 25th, so we have a couple more days. And Iran, we have not heard that Iran actually ended up going. So I'm not sure that Iran did, but we know Russia and China's there. And there's several other countries there, but those are the 2 big ones. And that's what they're doing. They're practicing. And, it's a part of an anti-Western drill. So obviously the United States, the West, we're not invited to this party. So we don't know what's happened unless somebody leaks it on what they're doing. Okay. And this is the kind of stuff when, again, that will happen when you have a weak administration in the US. It is what it is. And that's what's happening. That's why people are becoming so bold, and why these countries are becoming so bold. Okay. Now, Russia is actually going to be hosting China and Iran August 30th, starting August 30th, military war games in Siberia. And so they're going from Venezuela, hosting this straight over to Siberia. And Russia is going to be hosting it there. And Iran and China are supposed to be there as well. Let's see, anybody else? China, Iran, Russia, and North Korea, including Venezuela, Cuba. All anti-America countries are going to be there. And they're going to be practicing war games. So we'll have to see what happens with that. And, and even through all this kind of scary, bad stuff that that I feel like we're telling you, I mean, yeah, it's scary, bad stuff, but it's also exciting, like we said, and like I said in the beginning, because, to be in this time and if this is end times and to be a privilege to live in it, it's a great thing. But yeah, it still can be scary. We just got to remember to have faith and just to trust in God. He's still on the throne, and we do not want to allow the spirit of fear in us. Okay. So, God is showing us the signs. He's showing us everything that's happening. He is showing us prophecy being fulfilled in the word. He is showing everything from microchips being inserted in people to, the 500, the World Economic Forum, and it's putting in people now, and they signed up for it. And the guy with the Telsa, I mean, he's showing all of us the signs. We know these things are coming. He's showing us we have no excuse not to know they're coming. As long as, you're reading the word, you're going to know. Okay. And you're going to recognize these signs. And, and it's just unfortunate because there's so many people out there that are not seeing or hearing. And it's sad. It's sad because they're going to be full. They're going to be the ones that are full. So some people will tell you, don't listen to all this stuff. It puts fear in you. Yeah, but Jesus does tell us to watch and be ready and to let our friends and family know this stuff's going on. Okay, so you don't have to be in fear. I mean, just because you're researching it and you're spreading it and telling people about it does not mean you have to be in fear. Okay, so don't let someone put that thought in your mind, and don't allow the spirit of fear in you. Okay, just if it gets in you, just say, no, I will not fear. God's got this. He's in control. I already told you about that. And I'm assuming you've heard by now that America, this number 46, has decided to go through this deal with Iran, the Iran nuclear deal. They are going through it. Netanyahu, who's Israel's prime minister, tried to call Biden a couple of days ago to talk to him about this before he called Iran and told them he was coming. I mean, that they were going to go through with this. And the White House told him that, now this is the prime minister of Israel, the White House told him, sorry, number 46 is on vacation and can't be reached. I'm like, wow. I was stunned, that he would not even take the call. So from what I understand, there is an official in Israel that is flying in. It was either today or yesterday. But I mean, if he's not at the White House, I'm not sure exactly what he's expecting to take care of, because we both know that when this does get signed, Israel's going to have no choice but to attack Iran and Syria in that area, because Syria is housing a lot of their nuke stuff and their missiles and all their ammunition, all that. So, they're not going to have a choice. They're going to have to do it. And they said, if you go through with this deal and they continue working on these nukes, then we have no choice. And to be told that a country that has always supported you, and that honestly, God instructs us to support Israel. So, but to be told, oh, I'm sorry, he's on vacation. Sometimes I don't even know why I shake my head, because why did that surprise me? I don't know, but it did. All right. So that's kind of what happened with that. And now, and when they do sign that deal, Iran will be getting billions of dollars, and they're not going to use that for anything to do with the people. They're going to be using it to take care of all their proxies, the Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Hamas, Yemen, Iran Revolutionary Guard, all them guys. That's what they're going to be doing. And if you didn't watch last number 7 update, you need to watch it, because I talk about the ring of fire that is now going around Israel and being supplied with all this artillery and all these missiles and stuff. Okay. So, they're coming from many, many sides. And then Iran, in addition, is conducting one of its largest drone exercises, and that was to have started yesterday. And why that is interesting is because it's going to be the Iranian Armed Forces and Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps that are going to be cooperating with each other doing this drill. And those two don't normally cooperate with each other. And that's why it's considered the largest drone exercise, because those two do not cooperate with each other. Okay, so, and now they are. There was another earthquake in Indonesia, and this one was a 6.4. Yesterday, Ukraine celebrated Independence Day. And of course, Americans were told, if you're there, leave. Samaritan's Purse said, no, we're not leaving, but I'm sure some did, because they were expecting additional attacks and stuff. And it did happen. There was a train rail that was attacked, and I think 50 injured, 15 killed, something like that. So that was yesterday. And it did happen, and it was from Russia. Now, originally, we've actually talked about this before as well. We had talked about how Russia originally, especially when this thing started in the Ukraine, were not really saying much about Israel attacking Syria. Now, Israel is not attacking civilians. They are attacking areas where Iran and Russia are flying cargo planes into that area, and it's very close to Damascus. And if you haven't read the Isaiah 66, I believe, prophecy about the destruction of Damascus, that's another prophecy. But they're bombing right at the Damascus door. And what they're doing is they're going after like the military section, where they're bringing the cargo ships in, where they're storing weapons, that kind of thing. Well, Russia hasn't really been saying much about it, but now that, they're buddies, they are. And now they have really come out here recently in the last day or so and strictly is condemning it. Before it was, yeah, don't do that. Now it's don't. So Russia's getting even more. And, Gog Magog war, Russia's Gog, or Magog. South Korea actually reported 2 days ago that Russian warplanes entered their air defense space zone. So don't know why that happened, but they did. Keep an eye on that one as well. Okay. So on August 15th, there was an area that the U.S. soldiers were at in Syria, and they were attacked by a drone. And of course, now we have found out that it was Iran that did it. So, United States attacked back. They attacked back, and I believe this is all through drones, and it was Iran-backed militia that did it. United States has told Iran, we do not want a conflict with you guys, but we will defend our military personnel. So there's been some back and forth with that. And, you know, the U.S. is striking back, but they're not condoning Iran. They're not saying, no, you can't do this. They're just saying, look, if you do it, we're going to strike back. They're not condoning it. They're just, you know, and while they're striking us, we're signing an Iran nuclear deal with them. Makes sense. Make that make sense, please, for me. Make that make sense, because I don't understand, you know, why we're going to give this Iran nuclear deal and all these billions, but you're out there attacking our military in Syria. All right, so we talked about on my last video about Iran and its proxies surrounding Israel. You know, I think we said, like, was it Lebanon, and I think it was Syria here, and you got Gaza here, and you've got anyway, you got them on the north, the east, and the south area. And I explained how many thousands of missiles and whatnot that they have. Well, Iran has come out now, you know, and it's Iran and its proxies that basically is surrounding this whole area of Israel. And we talked about that being the Psalm 83 war. That's also a prophecy. If you haven't read Psalm 83, I would read it. It's interesting. But Iran has actually come out, and one of their like military big dogs came out and just said, look, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do the Ring of Fire, which is the surrounding of Israel with like Iran and its proxies. They've pretty much done that. They're going to build up Iran and their proxies ballistic missiles, including nukes. And they've done that in several areas, and they're still working on a few more areas. So they're definitely doing that. They are wanting to definitely build up Hezbollah. They want to build up their ground military, not just air and not just missiles, but their ground military. And they're wanting to get 40,000 men trained like ASAP. So they're working on that. And they're wanting to unite Palestinian factions. And they're asking for waves of civilians to join for ground military. And, you know, I just said where Russia's doing the same thing. They're going to have more military. They're bringing in more civilian military by January. They're wanting to go from so many million to another million or something more, but they're doing the exact same thing. So I find that, you know, kind of interesting that they're both getting, you know, waves of civilians, you know, basically basically a draft. And that's for the ground military. This is basically what one of the Iran generals came out and said, this is what we're doing. We're not even trying to hide it. We're just doing it. This is what we're going to do. And Nana boo boo, we don't care if you like it or not. Yeah, weak administration, guys. They become very bold. And, you know, honestly, Israel, they're prepared. They know this is coming and they're ready but they need prayer big time, because if all these, the Hezbollah, the Jihad, all them, Psalm 83 war attack at one time, that's going to be hard. But what if the ones from the Gog Magog war, Russia, Iran, Syria, and I think Turkey at the same time? The only way Israel's going to survive that is, of course, God says he's in Ezekiel 38 and 39, he's going to put a hook in their jaw and pull them back. But they still need a lot of prayer, because it's going to be bloody and bad. It's going to be really bad when they do it. And I think that they will. I don't think it's all talk, no action. I think they will. Just like I believe China's eventually going to go in after Taiwan. I don't know what they're waiting on, but it's something. And I don't know if they're waiting on something or if they're taunting Taiwan. I don't know. Or if they're taunting, the US. I don't know. But I do believe something will happen. Okay, they announced today, and I was kind of surprised about this, but the euros and the British pounds continue to weaken against the dollar. So the dollar's worth more. I was kind of surprised, because I didn't really think our dollar was worth a whole lot anymore. Okay. So anyway, number 46 yesterday signed paper to cancel student loan debt with some stipulations. If you make less than 125,000 and you had 10,000, they'll take out 10,000 of your student loan debt. However, if you had a Pell Grant, they'll do 20,000. I got mixed feelings on that. I don't think we should have to pay for other people's student loans. But being that I've had student loans before, and of course they're gone now, I don't have them anymore, but trying just to pay those payments and the interest is ridiculous. You pay 200 and the interest is 125, 150. You're not getting anywhere. So I got mixed feelings on that, I wish there was maybe some stipulations that, I don't know. I'm kind of got mixed feelings. Leave a comment. Tell me what y'all think about that. All right. So now Russia is, they keep coming up, don't they? Russia is bonding with the Palestinians now, and they're bonding on separating Jerusalem. Number 46 already went to talk with the PM, the prime minister in Jerusalem, about that exact same thing. And then he left and he went over to Palestine and talked to them. And he supports that, splitting Jerusalem and separating Jerusalem. And now Russia is bonding with Palestine in regards to that as well. So I think that's going to be one of the things that they really try to push when they do this, either Psalm 83 war, where all the proxies around, the Ring of Fire war, or if they end up doing a Gog Magog war, which again, we know for sure the Gog Magog war, God's going to end that one. But we don't know that for sure with the Psalm 83. We don't know that for sure. And so that I have a feeling that that's going to be one of their, we'll stop if you do this, if you separate Jerusalem. Well, I'm going to tell you, God gave that. I believe that they should have their own land. Yes, definitely. But at the end of the day, God gave Israel that land. And it's not for us to give away. That's God's land, not ours. And it's not for us to give away. And I really, 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 really believe if that happens, God's going to not be a happy boy. He ain't not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy when no truth. Okay, here's the really, I like this Bible verse. It's in Proverbs 12:25. Worry weighs a person down. An encouraging word cheers a person up. So make sure, try maybe for our homework this week, let's go out and try to cheer somebody up with a cheerful word. Just something to give them hope. And, because it's not just Christians that understand end times that are really noticing things. Even the unsaved are noticing things are not right in this world right now. Okay. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we are not a pre 2020 anymore. And we're not going back to pre 2020. I don't see it ever happening. Every time we get through one crisis, another and another and another. I don't think we're never going to be pre 2020. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it's going to be better. I know a lot of the prophets are out there saying, number 45 will be back in office by the end of the year, 1st of January. And it's going to be better because he's coming back. And maybe, who knows? I mean, there is a way it can happen. Well, first off, God can do anything he wants, but there is a way legally that it can happen. It's just different. And I don't really understand it. I've had it explained to me. And when it's explained to me, it makes 100% sense. But when I try to explain it, it sounds dumb. So I don't even know how to explain it. So, okay, indeed, it could happen. But are we not putting a little bit too much faith in a man? Just a wee bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think, he could probably get in there and clean up a lot of this mess, but it is not going to happen overnight. So we don't want to put too much faith in that. And we need to accept the facts that we are not going back to pre 2020. We've got to, if it's not the end times, we need to go with the facts it might not be. And we can't continue letting our country fall apart like this. I mean, we just can't. We got to fight back. And I don't mean physical fighting either. And and another thing too is God's speaking to more and more and more people through dreams and visions. I can't tell you how many people I have heard or talked to or I know that are having dreams like crazy, and they're like, what in the world was this? And it's just different things. And seeing numbers like I talked about with gematria. And it's God's way of letting us know he's getting ready to bring in a big harvest. And that harvest is our responsibility to take care of. We need to get out there and we need to help bring in that harvest. So when the rapture does happen, more people go home, and get out of this crazy world. Okay, so that's something we need to really think about and pray about, okay? And let's see, I think I just have a couple more things. Okay, I told you about, Putin signing a decree ordering additional recruitment that's to start 123. But he's also moved more than 400 planes and 360 combat helicopters around the border of Ukraine. So much for the ceasefire. We heard about that the other day, possibly a ceasefire discussion. But if he's doing that, there would be no reason to do it if he intended to do a ceasefire. So I think he's beefing up artillery. That's just my opinion. And I'm not a war general person, I'm just me. But just my gut tells me, I mean, if you're going to be putting all that out there, you're fixing to beef up, plus you're wanting to get more people. You wanting more people to help you with Ukraine, or you want more people so that you can start working with Iran. I mean, it's a guessing game, but we'll have to, again, keep an eye on all that. So that is it for today, and the funny thing is I'll probably take about 45 minutes or so to maybe an hour to do this video. And probably in that time, there's probably 10 more things I could report on, but it's just not possible to get it all. So I just give you the highlights and the most important. And especially if I feel it pertains to an end time prophecy, because we're teaching Revelation 101 right now. And so I want it to correspond with that. And so I'm definitely going to give those updates. And I'll probably throw in a few more like I did today, So Anyway, that is it. And this is another Bible verse I want to share. It's from 2 Timothy 4:18. Just want to leave you with some encouraging words. The Lord will rescue me from every evil attack and will bring me safely to his heavenly kingdom. To him be the glory forever and ever. Amen. Okay. So yes, the Lord will rescue us from every evil attack and will bring us safely home to his heavenly kingdom. Okay, so keep the faith, guys, and thank you so much for listening to me blabber. I appreciate it. And you know, depending on how things go in the next few days, I don't plan on getting back on till probably Monday or Tuesday for the update. We are doing 24 elders for our next part of the Revelation 101 series. We're going to be talking about the 24 elders and who they are. Flora's actually writing that one this week. I did the one last week. She's going to do this one. And it'll be good. She always finds some really good stuff. So it'll be really good. And I should, God willing, and the creek don't rise, my internet, my electricity, you know, all that stuff works. We should be able to record it Sunday and I can post it Monday. We'll see, God willing. So, you know, I've had some problems with my electricity and now my internet. And so, yeah, hopefully there'll be no problem. We're not going to claim it. There's not going to be a problem. We're going to get that up. And then I'll get the next update up on either Monday or Tuesday. Flora and I are talking about starting an additional study in addition to Revelation 101. Revelation 101, when we started it, we thought we were just going to do like 6-7 weeks, you know, and it's like every week God shows us another section he wants us to talk about. So we don't know when it's going to end. Okay. Because it was, you know, like the other day we were talking and we were looking at one of the videos we might have done in the beginning and we've learned some more information. And so it's like, well, we might need to update that video because we got a little more information. So it might be that he doesn't want us to stop it no time soon. So Revelation 101, I think, is going to keep going for a while, until at least until he says it's done, it's finished. But we are talking about starting another series, and I think we're going to do the Gospels. Yeah, because I mean, you know, Revelation 101 is super interesting, but it's a lot of learning. And you know, the Gospels is Jesus's ministry, and it's just, you know, it's a lot of love, you know. So I think we might end up doing that. And so we'll call it like Matthew or whatever. But so anyway, keep an eye out for that. Hopefully in the next week or two we can get started on that one. And you guys have a wonderful weekend. Unless something just big and bad happens, I won't be getting back on until Monday and Tuesday. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you again for being with us and listening to us. And if you have not subscribed, we would appreciate it if you subscribed, and if you would check like, you'd make my day. And subscribe, like, share our videos if you don't mind, definitely. And on the subscribe button right beside it is the bell. If you want to click on that, you'll get notifications anytime we update a video. You don't have to do that. That's just if you want notifications. So yeah, that too. And if you want to follow us on Facebook, just go to Two Friends and a Bible. And I have that page open. Just click like or join, whichever one it tells you to do, and you can join our page. We give updated video, we give you know, inspirational messages and, you know, and other things on that page. We'd love to have you. And so if you have questions, leave a comment. You can send me an email at twofriendsandabible@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.